Before I begin today's video, I just want to say thank you so much for helping me reach 200 subscribers. If you're a part of that community, even if you're just watching these videos, your support means the world to me. I am so glad that I'm able to do this and have people actually care. And I hope to continue growing, and I hope to continue making better videos for you. And actually, a while back, I had promised that when I reached 200 subscribers, I would get new lights for my recording setup here. And as you can tell, things look a little bit different right now. I got two new lights here. This is gonna be very big for me because now I don't need to rely on my window back there to light up my room. You can actually see my face evenly lit and stuff. Like, I think everything looks way nicer now. Obviously, it could still be better, but I think this is a really nice setup that I have going on. So thank you so much. Your support allowed me to do this, and I hope to continue again making better and more videos for you. So now on to today's video. Guys, this might be one of the most exciting games ever. So a while ago I had made a video about the Rollcage series and its spiritual successor Grip, which I like very much. And at the end of that video I actually mentioned a new game called Grip XR was coming out, and just this week the first demo for Grip XR was released on Steam, and I was so excited to play it, and I just wanted to talk about it because it's out and it's freaking awesome. So Grip XR was an incredibly exciting project from the get-go, even before I knew much about it. But now that I've gotten to play the demo, I really want to talk about it, and I'm so pumped for this game. I really hope it comes to the Switch too, because that's where I would rather play it. Of course, the demo is on Steam, and I don't mind playing it there, but I would definitely like to have this game on the Switch too. So even though I really like the original Grip from 2018, there are some differences with it compared to the original Rollcage that I kind of didn't prefer. There were things about the original Rollcage that I still liked a lot. I think the original Grip in 2018 tried to go for this grittier, more realistic sort of style to take advantage of the increases in performance and in power that consoles have now. But I didn't think that was necessary. I really liked how Rollcage had this very futuristic sci-fi sort of look that was still very vibrant and sort of like lighthearted in a way. And so Grip XR seems to be taking some of that essence and bringing it back, so the UI now feels way more sort of simple in a way. Like it's like the big numbers, it's very readable. Everything about it just feels a little more jolly, and the game itself also is way more colorful, just based on the demo, which only has 2 cars and 4 race tracks and 1 playground track, which I'll get to in a bit. Like everything you see here, it's just a lot more colorful. They go for like a slightly more flat looking just textures in general, and that sounds like a bad thing, but no, it makes things stick out a little bit more. It makes things pop a bit more. It's not so gritty. I think that this sort of, they refer to it as a retro look, and I think it looks wonderful. Like, this game looks fantastic. I love what they're doing with it. And in terms of the overall gameplay, they've also added some new things. So there's a new mechanic called Crank, which I wasn't really sure what it was before I played the demo. But basically what it is if you play the original Grip, they added this ability to launch your car, which is basically a jump, so you could just lift off the ground for a little bit. And in certain sections where there might be a ceiling, for example, you could launch, and that will, get you driving on the ceiling instead. Crank is like a sideways jump, so instead of just jumping straight up, you jump with one side of the car, so you can easily go onto a wall on either side of where your car is. And this is so cool. All the tracks here are really designed to take advantage of this, and you can really optimize this stuff. Like, I'm not good at games in general, but you can really optimize your use of the crank to just get on walls in tight turns, tight spaces. Like, all these tracks make really good use of the crank system, and it's so fun. Like, it adds a layer of like complexity, but it's just more excitement. There's more to do and more ways you can progress through the track, but it all feels so exhilarating all the time. It's really fun. The mechanic of the crank is awesome. You can still jump upwards as well, so that's cool as well. And you can also still tilt your car in midair. You can change its position, but you can also crank in midair for a more instant sort of jump, which is also pretty cool. sorry, I'm just kind of going off because I didn't write a script and I'm just very excited about this game. I love so much about it. So yeah, like the mechanics and the look of this game are both absolutely fantastic. And it actually, in terms of the gameplay, it almost feels like if Rollcage and Trackmania had a baby. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with Trackmania. I actually never played Trackmania, but I remember back in like the late 2000s or early 2010s, I kept hearing about this. Like I would see these videos online of like these crazy tracks that people would make. And the courses in Grip XR feel a lot like that. Like they feel very exhilarating, very twisty. There's all these elements you can do. You can jump from one platform to another. Like there's so much going on in these tracks. And it's so exciting. Like it really is. Like I love the way these tracks are designed. I feel like that is probably the biggest upgrade from the original Grip. Not that the original Grip was bad, but there's so much going on mechanically with the tracks here, whereas the original Grip felt a little more straightforward. This is a lot. There's a lot going on. It's really, really cool. Also, maybe I should mention the music. I'm not the person to mention music. It's not the biggest focus for me, but the music here is very exciting. It's very high energy, which it really fits the vibe of the game. So I think that's also very good. I hope there's more of it. Obviously, there's only a couple tracks here. Everything is very limited in this demo, but it is so promising for the future. So let's talk about the tracks, because I think that's, there's only 4 of them, 4 race tracks, so I feel like might as well just cover all of them. So the main one here is Arch, which is the only one that's really finished visually. So Arch is this desert track, but it also has like a lot of structures, like built human structures. And it still looks really good. Even though it's a desert, you would think it's more bland, but the desert is actually livened up also, partly by the structures, which also have like a lot of boost pads and stuff, which, they light up things. So you kind of get a sense of like more vibrancy from it, from all the race elements as well. But all the human structures themselves, they have some elements of color. They're not all, brown or something, or they add a little bit of pop to the sort of brown look of the desert. And also, some of these areas even have like things like graffiti on the walls and stuff. So really, this game does feel a lot more colorful and vibrant than the previous Grip. And I love the way the Arch track looks. And I also feel like the tracks in this game are way longer. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering the original Grip. But the laps here, like in the Arch track, I was taking close to 2 minutes per lap. So it's a very long race, all things considered. But it never gets like, it doesn't feel overly long. It's always exciting. It's just, you realize after a while, oh, I've been driving for a while, it's not over yet. But not in a bad way. Like, you're still having a ton of fun, but it is a pretty long race. But yeah, like it's a great example of everything in this game. You can use the crank system to go on a lot of the walls. There's boost pads on walls and ceilings, so sometimes you do want to use the crank to get the boost pads so you can go faster. So it really does leverage that. There's also a new mechanic that's drifting, which, you can probably tell what that is. That's been in a lot of games, but you can drift here to make tight turns a little bit better. And there is one good example of that in this demo track, which is good to see. Like it's useful so you know how the system works. And I would say it works pretty well as well. Like I think the drift is a good addition. So like overall, the Arch track is really cool. It's not my favorite though. But before we do get to my favorite, another one, and now we're starting to get into the prototype tracks that don't have finished textures. And we have one called Power Plant, and this one is also fairly cool. I mean, all of these tracks are really good. I like this one as well. There's a lot of textures missing. Like a lot of this track is just checkered surfaces because that's like a placeholder texture. But in terms of the design, everything is there. And there's, again, a lot of stuff going on. There's like a lot of parts where like there's like fins, so like your car can go in between walls in a very strange sort of way. Like there's so much like unexpected that can happen in these tracks, including this one, of course. Like there's all these elements where you can go on walls and ceilings and stuff. And yeah, the Power Plant track has a lot of that. It's a little confusing as a track. I think once the textures are finished, it'll feel a little more natural. But it is a little bit confusing, but still a lot of fun. Another one that feels pretty confusing and difficult is the city track. I would say actually this is the most confusing so far. There's a section in this track where I keep getting lost. I never get through it in one go. I feel like I always hit a wall and then I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. Like it's quite confusing, but again, all of the major textures are missing, so that's probably why. Like it's a very It's very much a prototype track. They call it a prototype track, and that's what it is. So like it is, it's clearly in development, but it's still very fun. I still enjoy it, but it is probably my least favorite of here. And finally, my absolute favorite right now is the last one called Cables. Like this one is awesome because again, textures are missing, sure. There's parts of it that do have textures and look like ice. I don't know if it's supposed to be because it doesn't feel slippery, but it does look sort of like ice. But the concept of cables is that in many parts of the tracks, there are what I assume will just be cables. There's like these circular sort of elongated things that you can drive on and can like go all around, like you can drive on any side of it. They're round and they just kind of go through many elements of this track, and you can do that. And then there's one thing that I really love in this course, which is you get to the end of these portions of the track and you just go into the abyss, but it has like a sort of like, I don't know, like a magnetic thing or a hook shot or something, which you don't have to like do anything yourself, but it pulls you, it grabs your car, and then you do like a 180 and you drive on the other side of the surface you were just on. And like that whole effect, that whole vibe is so cool. Like it's so fun to see your car just like go all around and just land on the other side of the surface you're on, and then you keep driving. Like this is the most exciting track. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's finalized, because it's so freaking cool. There's also this section where you're going on, and I think this is probably meant to be a cable as well, but then like under it, it's also magnetized, so like you can drive on the ceiling above this cable, but if you fall under it, the magnets actually keep you floating in the air until you're back on the ceiling. Like it's so wacky, so weird, but like I absolutely adore this course. I think this is my favorite, even without the textures and everything. Just mechanically, this course is so good. And really, looking at this roster of 4 tracks compared to the original Grip, wow, like these courses feel so much more involved than anything in the first game. It's so much fun. And this probably makes me sound like I don't like the first game. That's not it. Like I still had a lot of fun with it, but seriously, this game just feels like it's leveled up so much compared to that previous one. And then the last thing to talk about is the playground. So the playground is actually a big mechanic that's going to be in the final game, but here you don't get a lot of it. There's one playground level called Canyon, and the way it's designed, almost all of the textures are missing. All you have to do here is collect these random items that are scattered throughout the playground. It's a very big open area. There's no other cars. You're just there to play around and collect these items. And it's still very cool though, because this is how you learn about so much of what you can actually do in this game engine. Like you're going on walls. There's a lot of like curves and stuff where you have to like, to get on walls and ceilings, and then the walls themselves turn and stuff, and you have to make jumps. Like there's a lot going on here, and it's super fun to like figure out all these things. It's not like the thing that I'm most drawn to in this game, I will admit. I love the races, but I do really like what's going on here. Like the level looks cool. I mean, not visually because it's very unfinished, but conceptually, the way that it's designed to get you to experiment and do the jumps and get on walls and everything and explore, it's really interesting. But what's really cool about the playground mode is that it's not just preset levels. This isn't something you can experiment with, but it is announced, which is level creation. And the Grip XR is going to feature a level creator where you can be in the track editing it, and there can be people with you in that track playing it as you're editing. At least that's what I've read, and that sounds awesome. Like if people can make their own playgrounds with all this twisty stuff and all these jumps and loop-de-loops and whatever that you have to do, this is really going to feel a lot like what I felt watching those Trackmania videos a long time ago. And really just combining Rollcage with Trackmania, these are 2 racing games that I absolutely adored conceptually. So like getting that essence of both of them in one game with custom level creation and everything is just so exciting. So like when this product is finalized and you can actually create levels and there's more playgrounds and everything, like this is going to be so freaking cool. I cannot stress enough like how exciting this is. And that's just the thing, like this is a demo and it's a very limited one. And the game is going to be on Kickstarter, so I assume development is nowhere near completed, and your support will probably mean a lot. I am definitely going to back that Kickstarter campaign. especially if there's a Switch 2 version involved. I will be there day one. I am backing that campaign no matter what. If it's only on PC, then I'll probably think about it, but I'll still end up supporting it. But yeah, you need to help this project come to life because it is so freaking cool. And there's, I can only imagine how much work this takes. The company developing this is fairly small, all things considered. So I can see why they would need the help. And this project just deserves so much love because this demo is awesome. It's small, but if you look at the amount of content that was in the original Grip, the amount of tracks and everything, and that same amount of content makes it to Grip XR, but with the extra depth that all these tracks have, and the extra depth of obviously having a level editor that's very complex for this playground mode. Like, everything here could make like just one of the most fun games of this year, assuming it comes out this year in this full form. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually comes out next year, maybe. But, I think either way, it's just so good and so worthy of support. So check out the demo, it's free. Just play it. It runs pretty well. I played it on the gaming handheld with Linux and it ran flawlessly. I think it ran better than it did on my Windows computer where I recorded this footage. So like, it runs really well. It doesn't need super powerful hardware. Just give it a shot because it's so much fun. And when you consider everything that's possible, considering the amount of content that they're going to add by the time it's finished, man, I'm just so excited to get this in my hands. But yeah, sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, but I'm just very excited about this game. And I'm kind of gushing. I don't know where to go with this, but like, the game is so much fun. So please check it out, back it. And if you like this video, please consider checking out this video on Rollcage. Like, it's a game that I played a lot in my childhood. I also mentioned the original Grip there, so you can see a bit about that as well. Like, I really love this series, and Grip XR is super exciting. So consider checking that out. And that's all for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.